Introducing the Breakout Invitational Season 3, where we find up-and-coming talent in the North American scene. And your players, PandaBearMe, the Changeling. JonSnow, the Redemption Zerg. Highfire, the Stormbringer. Intense, the Macro Machine. Zan, the Beast. Kelazhur, the Daredevil. Midday, the Nobleman. Bales, the Powerhouse. Be sure to check out the Breakout Invitational on October 17th, 18th, and 19th to discover who will break out.
Hello everyone, welcome to day number 3 of the Breakout Invitational Season 3. My name is Fear Dragon. Today I am joined here by Tempo Starcraft.
Oh.
How are you doing, my friend?
Pretty good, pretty good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I'm feeling a little bit tired. We're having a long actual weekend of matches, but we're finally here on day 3, the final day.
The final day.
And we're actually going to be jumping not exactly into the semifinals just yet. We have some awesome show matches prepared, and thanks to some lovely pro gamers such as QXC, Hendralisk, actually the previous winner of the Breakout Invitational is clearly broken out, I would say, and IBD Gaming's Puck. We're actually going to be having these guys face off against the semi-finalists in some fun best-of-3 show matches and see kind of how they fare against some more well-established names, some names that I think a lot of people are maybe a little bit more familiar with. So with that being said, we're actually going to be jumping, initially I think that we had like some idea of like going into QXC versus Intense. I think it might say that on the Wikipedia page, but in fact we're going to be going into first JonSnow versus Hendralisk, which is going to be a ZVZ. You know, Tempo, it has nothing to do with the fact that we're kind of still looking for QXC right now.
Not at all, not at all. I mean,
it's because you're a Zerg player, and I was like, you know what, Tempo, this is my gift to you. It's a ZVZ on a silver or golden platter. It's actually made of both silver and gold. It's the silver lining.
It's a Grandmaster platter, actually, to be honest.
Actually, yes. We found materials on Pluto that we've named the material Grandmaster. We've crafted a plate out of this. That's all we had to do with it. But yeah, with that being said, guys, the show matches will be happening now. For a lot of you guys asking, semifinals, of course, will be done a little bit later on after the show matches. We're expecting it to hopefully be around like 3 o'clock, but I don't know. Midday is going to be playing against Puck, and Midday really likes Swarmville, so we'll see if that goes over.
Does he? Oh, man.
Yeah, but also, for those of you asking, Tempo is going to be joining me for all the show matches. Day 9 going to be hopping in for the semifinals and hopefully the finals as well, though he does have to take off around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So I'm really, Midday, if you're watching, please.
The final day with day 9, like,
spare us. Spare us from too long of games. But
opens up immediately, Swarmhouse.
Yes. Like, it's going to be a 1-base Swarmhouse.
King Sejong, Deadwing.
Like, oh, God.
Like, straight up. Oh, man.
Well, all jokes aside, should be a fun day, and I think that, you know, we're not going to be playing any crazy like video intros for all the players for the show matches and everything. We just kind of want to get through these and show you guys a little bit of a taste of what we're going to be seeing in the semifinals and the finals now. Also, just some quick notes. We're actually going to get to see some awesome show matches in matchups that you haven't exactly seen or are going to get the chance to see from some of these players. Like, for example, Kelazhur going to be playing his Terran versus Protoss. He didn't actually get to play a TVP throughout the entire Invitational, but he was hinting at some really awesome stuff the other day, and he was saying stuff like He's researched and playing around with Neil Steel Frame, the bunker
Really?
capacity upgrade, and doing like all kinds of like crazy biomine like style, like a really old school kind of stuff. Not getting Vikings. Lots of really fun stuff. So we get to see stuff like that from Kelazhur.
Okay,
We're gonna get to see Intense's TVT as long as we can find QXE, which is totally not the reason why we're not doing that match
At all.
Yeah, exactly.
Intense loves his TVTs too.
Yes. Actually, Intense loves his TVT and his TVZ. We're going to be seeing his TVZ in the semifinals, but his TVT and his TVZ, he said he basically has close to an 80% win rate in those matchups.
Wow.
And yeah, we're just going to be getting the lobby ready, guys. But of course, if you do want to be entered in the
opportunity, might be bugging.
Yeah, no worries. If you do want the opportunity to win one of these amazing Zergling plushies, these Zergling plushies that are just so adorable, it makes you want to lick them and they'll lick you back. All you have to do it or get one is to tweet out and follow myself and the player that you want to win the Breakout Invitational. I don't care if the player's eliminated, still counts. And of course, you need to use the hashtag BreakingOutNA. And you'll get an opportunity to win one of those awesome Zergling plushies. Shipping and handling, everything else totally covered. I know the winner from yesterday, Master Dolk, is going to make me pay shipping to Canada, so I hate him a little bit for it, but don't worry. If it's not Master Dolk, then I no problems with it.
All right,
but
let's try.
Yeah. Of course, there is also a prize pool available. This is a tournament with a prize pool, a very unorthodox thing, if I do say so myself. But actually, if you do want to donate to the prize pool, you can actually very easily. All you have to do is hit that link down below the Twitch stream. It's a big Breaking Out logo. You click on that and you can be taken to the PayPal page. All of the proceeds basically go straight to the prize pool, and the prize pool is split up nice and evenly amongst all the participants. 50% going to first place, 20% going to second place, 7% to third and fourth, and the rest 4% to all the people placing 5th through 8th in the groups. So yeah, if you do actually want to support these players and kind of reward them for trying to practice and break out of the North American scene, that's a great way to do it. Of course, don't do it if you're worried about your next meal, or I don't know, like if you have a really bad headache and you're like, it's a decision between like, should I donate right over here and give these guys like another $10, or should I get an Advil? Just go for the Advil.
Man. For esports, man, you gotta go all in. Just take one for the team.
Take one for the team. We're giving conflicting messages here, Tempa.
I know.
But... Oh man, but that is gonna be that. And with that being said, I think that we are pretty much ready on the caster side for the next game, or I should say the first series, and that's actually going to be JonSnow again versus Hendreless, ZVZ. Later on, we're going to be seeing Intense versus QXE, as well as Kelazhur versus Puck and Midday versus Puck. So should be some fun matches coming up later on in the day. First map is actually already decided. It's going to be merry-go-round, and Tempo, man. I gotta ask you, ZVZ merry-go-round. How you feeling about this, man?
Man, ZVZ. I don't know. It depends who was playing. I know JonSnow is quite aggressive in a lot of his matchups. And merry-go-round is one of those maps where you can actually get pretty aggressive if you want to, just because of the way that the ramp is, or like the location of the natural, and there's so much space in the natural. You see players like Cats will always do like 13, 12, Zergling, Baneling, boom, just you know, come on in. But I don't know. It depends how the two players play. You know, I always think of Hendreless as more of a conservative type of player.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do we see here?
Well, we'll have to find out as we jump in and introduce the players and spawn down here on the bottom side of merry-go-round, top of the teal Zerg player representing Team Complexity Gaming. It is Complexity Gaming's Hendreless.
And his opponent spawning in the top right corner, he is the red Zerg player representing Solaris Gaming, JonSnow. Oh yeah.
Looking forward to it. Well, you know, I kind of mentioned this before, but Hendrel is actually, again, the winner of the last Breakout Invitational.
Yeah.
And he's a very strong Zerg player, and it's gonna be a rough match for JonSnow. But you know what? JonSnow has been playing very well. He played actually a ZVZ yesterday, did pretty well for himself, and I'm expecting to see some good games.
Well, we're gonna be moving it up. Kind of like I predicted, JonSnow saying that, hey, it's merry-go-round, and I'm going to start things out with a little bit of a 10 pool. And what's Hendreless going to be doing? Do you think he's going to go for the hatch first? It'll be a little bit more difficult. Okay, nice.
Ooh. You know, Temple, I think that Hendreless is going to go for the spawning pool first.
Yeah, he goes ahead and drops it down. Really, really safe play. Maybe even going for the hatch afterwards with some type of gasless opener.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, you know, the gas obviously going to be something that we need to keep an eye out for. But this is sort of telling to me, JonSnow, he's kind of almost going back a little bit to his roots. One thing that he was saying more recently is that he used to be very much an all-any player sometimes in like ZVZ and ZVT. But this year, 2014, has been the year where he's been stepping it back and kind of saying, okay, well, you know, I'm feeling more confident in my play. I'm going to go for more macro-oriented games. But right now, the fact that he's going for the early pool, I'm trying to decide right now if this is him sort of saying like, look, Hendreless is a really tough opponent. I need to maybe try and get out the free win against him with the early 10 pool. But I don't know. How are you feeling about this? How this game is shaping up so far?
I mean, it's going to be interesting right now because the gas is going down here for JonSnow. This was a little bit delayed for him, actually. He didn't get it as fast as he could. So I wonder if he's going to just go into speed after it or what? Like, what is he going to be doing with this? Because he's not getting a really early base. You know, it's not like to cancel the base and then kind of get it. So I'm wondering a little bit right now, you know, he's here, and he should know that it's a pool first because of the timing of the hatchery.
Yeah, I really like what Hendreless is actually doing over here. He was poaching forward with a couple of those Zerglings to see, okay, how many more Zerglings are he actually making? Is it just like, you know, 6 or 7 or 8?
Yeah, he's gonna need to pull maybe a few more drones here. I mean, that's a lot of lings here for JonSnow.
Yeah, Hendreless is definitely gonna have to cancel this hatchery at some point, right? Like, he's not gonna... What?
I don't think he's gonna... Yeah. Finish? It's just, I think it's a little bit too many links here. He's gonna have to wait for the queens, trying to buy time, but queens haven't even started yet, so... Oh, there's one.
Alright,
there's no other ones that are on the way.
Yeah, but this one queen is gonna get almost immediately surrounded by a lot of these Zerglings. It's gonna end up falling pretty much immediately.
Uh-oh. But, you know, JonSnow gets quite a bit of damage done there, you know? He actually ended up killing 4 drones. And although he is down a base, he did decide to go ahead and get that speed.
That base is also so low on health.
It's very low, yeah.
I feel like it could potentially even just be a target for another wave of aggression. We see the Baneling nest coming down before like a hatchery comes down for JonSnow. I think JonSnow just follows up with a Speedling with a couple of Banelings mixed in. And guess what? The Banelings will zone out those Zerglings and allow his own Zerglings to just target fire down that hatchery, and boom, whatever kind of big economic advantage Hendreless could have gotten by having that hatchery, no longer going to be there.
Yeah, that's a rough spot to be in for sure, but he has to continue to make queens and realize that there's no natural here for JonSnow either, so he's going for the gasless kind of opener here, and he's getting a spine crawler to be very defensive, and you know, he's not getting gas is what the main thing here. So his lings are going to be pretty useless when the Banelings start to roll in.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's a really good point. And, you know, it's one of those things I think Hendreless is trying to cut a corner because he's realizing, okay, I lost a lot of drones in that attack and everything. I need to find some way to just cut a corner and eventually come back and make up for the losses that I've had. But as you're saying, like...
Speed is here.
Oh, God. Zergling speed and with the Banelings in the mix, this is going to be so hard for Hendreless to hold on to. JonSnow already kind of setting the pace of the series and saying, you know what? You can't play a little bit or easy going against me. I may be an up-and-coming player, but, man, I'm going to take you down.
I love what Hendreless is doing right now here, too, with the wall around his hatch.
Oh,
and the lings there, too, to try to soak it up. But nope, it's not enough. And down goes the hatchery. And, I mean, a good thing here for Hendreless is that he didn't lose any drones in that, but that advantage, like you were saying, is pretty much gone.
Yeah, and actually, weirdly enough, yeah, you see Hendreless, he cancels one of those evolution chambers with his building because he realized I'm actually not going to have a lot of creep over here in a second anyways. Like, maybe I should just go... Well, actually, maybe he's not even going to rebuild that evolution chamber. He's getting both of his gas geysers up right now. And, oh, man, is JonSnow going to continue this aggression?
Well, it looks like he's going to continue to, like, kind of test it.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how much damage he will be able to get done here, but no, he's going right for it. Right for that spine crawler. There are 2 transfuses here, though.
Yeah, Baneling walking around, seeing if it's going to eventually find a target. Doesn't want to explode it on that spine. Oh, well, actually, he does explode it on the spine crawler. Kind of interesting decision. Not to save that for some Zerglings. But,
he could have done it. Uh-oh, there are no more transfuses here yet, though.
Oh man, if he loses both of these queens, that's actually going to bring Hendrillus down to 0 queens. He's not going to have any more larva injects. Does not have another queen on, well actually no, okay, I take it back. He just now starts another queen, but I mean, he's going to be hurting on production, and there's more Zerglings coming out for JonSnow. He's going to continue the aggression.
Yeah, he's going to continue to do this. He sees that these Lings don't have speed either, and the only thing that Hendrillus is going to be able to do is try to get a few of these roaches out. But I mean, what are you going to do? This is a lot of Lings coming out here, and you're going to have to be able to deal with it.
Yeah, if he can get a couple of roaches out, that's definitely going to help, because one of the big problems he's been having, it's something that you mentioned earlier, right, is the fact that his Zerglings don't have speed, and they're just trying to run away from the Banelings constantly. They can never really engage, but if he gets the roaches out, he can finally start to use some of those units to hit, like, target fire down some of those Banelings, and not really just be constantly zoned out, but they're going to be coming a little bit too late, Tempo.
Yep, and I just don't know if Hendrillus has enough here. He has 4 roaches in production, but that's a lot of Lings, and they're going to be coming out one by one. Some spawning at the natural, some spawning in the main, and all this damage is getting done through it all out. So, and JonSnow's already got another base of his own, and he's on equal drones. Well, now he actually took the drone lead, but yeah, that's a lot of damage that Hendrillus could sustain, and he's down a base now too.
Yeah, Hendrillus, he's gonna stick around for, I'm pretty sure, this one final push out. He's gonna have these roaches, he's gonna have +1 weapons. And probably just going to reinforce with as many units. Oh, actually, no, he's droning up behind this. So maybe he's saying, okay, if I can get enough damage done with these roaches. But here's the problem. When you have these slow roaches and you try and move all the way across the map, these Zerglings from JonSnow are just going to come back in. They're going to counterattack, and they could probably even get back to defend before the roaches get to your base.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Hendrillus is in a very rough spot here. And then even going to lose his Roach Warren. JonSnow's getting roaches of his own. And, you know, at least +1 is finished for Hendrillus, you know, but...
You gotta count the bright sides right now, Tempo, in these sort of situations. GG gets
GG.
called.
Very aggressive opener from JonSnow.
Yeah, super aggressive, and I really like it, actually. So, I was talking about, you know, JonSnow saying he's maybe not as confident sometimes in his ZVZ, and his confidence has sort of lended him to be a little bit more macro-oriented and not go for the all-ins, but I take it back now a little bit after seeing kind of how that worked out. I think that JonSnow kind of going for the slight risk, but it was more of a, okay, let's open up this series with like an aggressive build. If I can get a good win over here, that'll be awesome, but if not, it's fine. Go into game 2. And you know what? It worked out. It worked out really well against what Hendrillus was doing.
Yeah. And I like it too, because you can test it out, and he got his gas a little bit later. Like, he didn't do the 10-pool Bane and just say, you know what, I'm not confident, I'm going to go and just try to end it with this. But he was kind of like testing Hendrillus and saying, you know, are you going to play it a little greedy? And if you do open gasless, then I'll take advantage of it too. So I feel like he was able to, you know, and made the call when to actually continue to pressure, when to go in on the hatchery, and then when it was good to take your hatchery of your own.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I'd be actually a little bit surprised if we ended up seeing JonSnow go for the same sort of thing again in this game, like going for another 10-pull opening. I mean, maybe it could happen, but to me that was like a, look, you gotta play around me being like a little bit on the aggressive side. And Hendrillus is actually the kind of player, he's like the kind of metagamey player who will just be like, nah, he's like not gonna do it twice. I'll do the exact same thing in this last game.
I feel like, it is another 3-player map too, so.
Indeed it is. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump and introduce the players as we spawn over here on the left-hand side of the map. Catalina, this 3-player map, on top of the red Zerg player representing Solaris Gaming and member of this season of Breaking Out. It is JonSnow.
And his opponent spawning in the bottom right, kind of 5 o'clock position, is going to be his opponent, representing Complexity Sound Blaster, the Teal Zerg player, Hendrillus. Also, a Breakout Invitational champion.
Indeed. Well, another ZVZ in our hands, and I guess another 3-player map. That's actually a really interesting note, and I guess that does sometimes factor into how players decide to open up. You know, sometimes if it's a 4-player map going for like super early pool, doesn't always work out, because you're like, okay, let me send my overlord this direction. Okay, they're not over there. Now I have to take a 50-50 gamble on where they are. Not going to be the case, though. They're not going to be going for any of those kind of early pool shenanigans, and we'll see if Hendrillus decides to go for that gasless opening once again.
I know, he might. Maybe just how he likes to play. It's, I mean, it's a safe opener for the most part. It's just that, like, you know, if you're not able to get that defense all set up, you know, the 4 queens and like a 10 pool with speed is very aggressive. So, it's pretty difficult at that situation. And Hendrilisk was actually doing like really cool stuff. He put like the Evo chamber around the hatchery. Had his
Zerglings around the hatchery also. Like, it's all the small little things that he was doing that is just a show to say, like, Hendrilisk is a really, really good player. We'll see how this game shapes out, though, because, you know, maybe Hendrilisk will find a little bit more success in this game if he takes it, like, a little bit later on to the later stages of the game. I know, actually, surprisingly enough, though, JonSnow feels very, very comfortable with the Roach versus Roach sort of style of ZVZ, but not as comfortable with the Mutalisk versus Mutalisk play.
Okay.
So that could be an avenue of opportunity for Hendrilisk to get into if he does decide to go for Mutalisk, but... You know, for now, just going to be throwing down the spawning pool first, getting up the hatchery, and not doing anything too crazy.
Yeah, and it's Hendrilisk that's the one that's getting the gas this time as well.
Oh, yeah.
JonSnow going gasless himself, so, hey, the tables have turned a bit. And we'll see. We'll see. I wonder how you said, JonSnow likes the Roach style, so gasless is actually really good to do, especially when you're going for that Roach kind of style. And nowadays, you actually will see that a gasless opener will still get link speed anyway. You know, the first 100 gas, rather than going right into the lair, they'll go ahead and get link speed and be very aggressive, canceling the third of the opponent. That may be thinking they're playing it a little bit more passive.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Well, we're saying passive, but of course there are 4 Zerglings being very, very annoying for JonSnow out on Hendrilisk's side of the map. Killing off 1 drone already. Might actually be able to kill a 2nd drone. Yeah, it does end up getting it. So, I mean, these 4 Zerglings, they actually get a surprising amount of damage done.
That was actually a good scout there from JonSnow. Saw that Hendrilisk pulled out of gas. And I wonder, though, if Hendrilisk pulling out of gas just to get more drones or doing like a really strong Ling attack. But it could be a mind game as well. Because if JonSnow did see that and says, uh-oh, you're going to try to Ling all in me here, but he just continues to drone, then, hey, he'll go ahead and get that drone advantage.
Yeah, see if it pays off. A lot of gas geysers now going down for, the two standard gas geysers going down for JonSnow. Pretty typical follow-up after going up against, or after opening up gasless, and of course that's just to get a nice influx of gas. Now, one kind of interesting thing that I always like paying attention to is whether or not after a player goes for the gasless style, is whether they decide to just skip Zergling speed or if they just end up getting it much, much later, because that's usually a really good indicator of, I'm thinking about Mutalisk if you decide to go for the Zergling speed versus maybe going just straight into Roaches and foregoing the Zerglings entirely.
Yeah, a lot of the times players will go right into the Roaches. Like, it was kind of the standard for a while, but it started to get a little bit too predictable. And players would, like opponents like scouting the gasless would go ahead and take a really fast third and get economically ahead so easily because there's no pressure that a gasless build can really do. So, yeah, we see the Zergling speed getting taken here for JonSnow in a Roach as well as an Evo chamber and using his queens to go ahead and take out those overlords. And who knows if Hendrilisk will be able to read this, because if he takes a really quick third, then we'll see that he's thinking that it's the regular style.
He's actually moving his queens like super far out to try and get some of these overlords from JonSnow. JonSnow actually realizes it just in time and is going to pull that overlord back. Oh, actually, maybe it's not just in time. That overlord getting awfully low in health right now. I think he's going to get sniped off.
If it was 1 queen, maybe, but that.
Nice pick off over there. And that's actually while JonSnow is trying to pump out as many of these Roaches as possible. So
to supply block them,
exactly.
4 overlords on the way.
Oh man, yeah, and they're going to be a little while longer. So this is actually going to delay any kind of big push-outs that JonSnow was maybe thinking about doing. I mean, ZVZ is one of those matchups where if you have units out, you want to be poking and prodding at your opponent. It's not the kind of matchup where you just sit at home with your units all day until you have a maxed out army, right? You always want to be testing the water to see, are you making drones or units?
Yeah, this is actually a really cool move here from JonSnow, making it look like he really wanted to take that third right then. But he's been pumping out Roaches pretty much this whole time, and Lings as well. And he hasn't even got his lair either, so he's definitely making it look like it's a standard Roach expand and then into... but he is going to go ahead and take the third.
Oh my god. Hendrill's
a lot of
actually
units.
Hendrill's actually started morphing in an Overseer, and it shut down his own vision. Like it had temporarily less vision. And he didn't see the roaches moving across the map. I think that, as you were saying, he might be caught a little bit off guard over here, as now the roaches moving into position, and Hendrill's is not exactly in position to defend this third.
No, he's gonna probably have to cancel it. And the fact that JonSnow has already started his own third, and then a very delayed lair, but it's only to make this attack work. And he's gonna get some damage done here, but he needs to kill this third, or else he's gonna be behind in the upgrade as well as just the lair tech and having roach speed.
Oh man, really nice play there from JonSnow, and it might actually be paying off over here. He's already up 1-0. Is he actually gonna be able to just move in over here and do massive amounts of damage to win the game? 2-0.
There's so much damage being done. Yeah, you see that he's not even going for the third. He says, I'm gonna end the game right now. Drones getting pulled off the line, but Hendrillus has made more drones. So he's actually even in drones now, losing a few just a bit, but if he keeps on and actually holds here,
oh my
he
God.
has a third, he has the lair tech, he has everything really to come back into it, so it looks pretty grim.
Yeah, a few of the roaches out from Hendrill's third expansion do manage to pop out and actually kill off the Zerglings that were chipping away at that third expansion. And Hendrill's is still he's still going to defend against a lot of these Zerglings that are popping out for JonSnow, but it's Zerglings, it's not more roaches moving across the map. And this is going to be a lot easier to defend, but he does end up losing the third expansion.
Huge, yep. Now JonSnow has to hold on. He doesn't have road speed, he doesn't have +1 either. But he does have the larva, and he does have the, well, let's say the production as well. So, but does he have the units?
Yeah,
he has 2 roaches to his name right now, so...
Oh, God.
Yep.
And he's actually up against the +1 roaches of Hendrill's right now. He's burrowing his Spinecrawler over outside of his natural expansion. Not entirely burrowed, just yet. The roaches now moving in.
Oh, man, I don't think he's going to have enough. I mean, he has to continue to pump out these roaches because this Spinecrawler is pretty much his lifeline, holding on so that more roaches can get out onto the field. But
he's doing a pretty good job so far. The queens are going to get sniped off, which definitely sucks. He's going to be losing out on some of that larva production, but he is going to clean up all these roaches over here, and I like what he's doing at the other side of the map. He's actually going for the Zerglin counterattack, and actually, Hendrill's has been forced to do a complete wall-in over here.
And he's going to lose his roach warren.
Oh, it's going to be really close. Only 2 seconds left over, but yeah, they're going to just back up, but that's still going to be a big target for later on.
Whew. Well, Hendrillus is down that third. He wasn't able to cancel the third of JonSnow. They're about equal in drones, but ooh, it's not looking too good for Hendrillus just because of the larva.
Yeah, and honestly, tempo right now, that roach, Hendrillus needs to be remaking that roach one, because if he loses that,
yeah,
he's up against this many roaches from JonSnow and he can't reproduce. Or if he actually loses all these units,
got caught out. Yeah.
JonSnow gonna be taking the series 2-0. Who would have actually thought? And I'm not gonna lie, Tempo. Last season, we did these show matches versus the pros, and I think the semi-pros, the aspiring North American players from the show, won exactly 1 game in all 4 of the best of 3s.
So and we're off to a good start then, yeah.
We're already breaking that record. 2 games won, a series won for JonSnow. He's going to be walking away with the $25 prize for the show match. Of course, we do have some more show matches coming up. So guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to be going to a very, very short break as we get the next match set up. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be jumping into the next show match. Hopefully that break wasn't too long for you guys. And we're going to be looking into IVD Gaming's Puck, who's actually technically a teammate of yours.
I know that guy, man. I've heard of him. It's funny because I casted him yesterday.
Yeah, man. In the ASL Finals, and Puck had a great showing versus Moss and everything, but he's going to be playing against Pro Dolly's Kelazhur from Brazil. It's going to be a PVT, so we're mixing up from the mirror matchups and going straight into one of my favorite, actually my favorite matchup of all time. I know a lot of people like TVZ, but PVT is where is that, man? And I'm so unbelievably excited for this matchup because here's the thing. Kelazhur said on the show he has this amazingly cool style of TVP where he does crazy stuff and people tell him, you know, it's a risky style, you shouldn't do it, but he finds a lot of success with it against a lot of really good players.
Yeah.
I think he said he's done it versus Minigun, who I think is on a very similar level to Puck.
Yep.
And he's found success with it. And it involves things like Neil Steel frames, like the bunker upgrade for a capacity, and doing like this biomine, like no Viking, all this kind of crazy stuff that he was talking about. And we didn't get to see it actually, because he didn't actually get to play against a Protoss player in his group. But now, here is the opportunity that we get to see his TVP.
Oh man, that's actually really cool. Yeah, I like Kelazhur a lot as well. He used to be part of Micro Gamers?
He used to be part of Micro Gamers. He ended up leaving Micro Gamers, is now on Team Pro Dolly.
Okay.
Yeah. And shout out to anyone who can get what the image for Pro Dolly actually is. But we're going to go ahead and jump and introduce the players as we spawn. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, on top of the red Protoss player representing Team IVD Gaming, it is Sloopy, a.k.a. Puck.
We were so mad yesterday during the
did you find
pre-game interview. We were supposed to ask him, man.
Did you not ask? Oh, yeah, you could.
You're such idiots.
There's no winners interview, right? Oh.
But even like the pre-game one too. But either way, representing Pro Dolly, he is the blue Terran player spawning in the top left corner of King Sejong Station. It is Kelazhur. Yeah, I'm an idiot. We were like, oh, we just had him in a call and we didn't ask him what Sloopy was. I could just ask him and be like, yo, Puck, what's Sloopy?
Puck,
right now.
Puck changes his name actually like more
quite a bit
often than I expected. Like, I actually was a big fan of Iron Man. I'm kind of sad they changed away from Iron Man. Because that was just a constant nod to like, yeah, I did that one Red Bull Battlegrounds against like all the amazing players.
Yeah. It was like when when everyone kept picking on him.
Yeah, exactly, right? It was it was, for those of you who don't know, it was a Red Bull actually, sorry, really quick note. I love this move from Puck. And this just goes to show like how much experience he has and stuff. Like, he's actually building this pylon. It may seem like a kind of weird location. It's like, oh, it's like really far off. Is he trying to hide a pylon? No, actually, there is a small little ridge for Reapers to jump up over here. But if you build your pylon and your gateway over there, you actually stop the Reaper from being able to jump up. A Reaper will move around, get up to that cliff, and be like, I can't. There's a force over here. I can't see it, but there's a force over here. And it'll totally bug out the AI of the Reaper. So really cool. Kelazhur not going for the Reaper opening, it doesn't look like, but it's just a really nice maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't really do anything bad for you. It doesn't hinder you in any way, really. But yeah. We're going to see some TVP action, and like you said, Kelazhur does some really funky TVP, which I am actually intrigued about now, too. Yeah. Trying to see exactly what it is that he has up his sleeve and what he has in store to show us, because it is a show match at the end of the day, right? So
indeed. Again, like, none of the players are going to be knocked out of the tournament. I mean, certainly Puck is not going to get knocked out of the tournament if he loses this series. So I'm expecting to see, maybe a little bit more fun play. It's for $25, which, is obviously nice, but it's not just this astounding amount. It's not like for the, 50% of the total prize pool or anything crazy like that, but reactor out for Kelazhur, going straight up to this factor. This is kind of what I was expecting, just because, again, he mentioned, if you were tuning in for the winner's interview, the final interview at the end of the day from Kelazhur yesterday, said that style involves things like biomine, involves not necessarily getting as many Vikings. And I mean, he's getting a bunker. I don't know if he's going to get the upgrades for the bunker just yet, but...
Yep. If he does it like the first upgrade, then
yeah, right? Just like before he actually makes like anything out of the factory, he just like throws down engineering bay and gets the bunker upgrade.
Hey, well, I'm interested. Let's see how he does it. Puck, looking like he just wants to do pretty standard 1 gate expand, going down, and probably gonna go into the Robo style. I think Puck is just. I'm trying to think if. Yeah, I believe he was doing it kind of standard, you know, Robo Forge and most standard of standard TVP style, at least to start things out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely nothing too crazy. It's exactly what you normally see from a Protoss player, and that may work out well, but what exactly Kelazhur is going for is he's going for a big shout out to Drunken Boy, because I've been talking about him a lot throughout the Invitational. Whenever I see this build, actually I talk about Drunken Boy because he's the first person I think of. The Hellion style where you get up the starport, you get up a medevac, and you just drop 6 or so Marines into the main base, and you run the Hellions into the natural expansion, and it is so annoying for a Protoss player to deal with, especially if Puck decides to go for a fast robotics bay, which he may very well decide to do, but no, he's going to add on 2 gateways first.
All right, really smart move here, but there's nothing here to defend just yet. Here come the Stalkers, but how many probes are going to go down? 3. It's kind of a little victory just for nothing at all, so gotta be... He knows something's up, though. He's saying, uh-oh, you're trying to do something here to me.
Yeah, seeing the Hellions is already a really big giveaway, actually, and that actually should allow Puck to prepare a little bit more for this kind of push-out, and Hellions, I almost feel like they're trying to draw the Stalker back, because, you know, if he regrouped the rest of his Hellions and the Marines, he could easily have killed off that Stalker and really hurt the defense of Puck, but Puck, he's gearing up for the defense over in the main base. He has his units positioned over there. He's going to be able to photon overcharge at the natural expansion, but more importantly, he doesn't have any units mining or probes mining in the natural expansion.
Yeah. So while he's preparing for it so that the Hellions can't do too much damage, I mean, I guess it's better than losing all of your probes, because that's the real economic damage, but...
Yeah.
Oh my god, we may even see Kelazhur go right in here, but no, he's going to back on off. And a really nice read here from Puck.
Yeah, very solid defense over here from Puck, and he's going to be able to just poke away at these units. I do want to note, you know, in a sense, Kelazhur is still doing damage right now, even if he's not killing off probes. He's denying mining from the natural expansion, basically.
Yeah.
And he's also going to be able to engage against these Stalkers, but some really nice... God, look at the micro from both of these players. Really sick.
Ever so slightly moving them back and forcing them to go back because of the range difference between the two. And wow, Puck loses 1 Stalker there.
That is it. He loses exactly 1 Stalker, keeps everything else alive. Some great micro over there from Puck. And he's definitely showing, man. It's going to be a hard match for Kelazhur if the style is going to work out.
Yeah.
It's going to be through some really, really great aggression.
But I mean, yeah, those are the type of plays that will really do quite a bit of damage to players that haven't really either seen it or expected or not. But that was a really solid read. Because even losing those 3 Hellions was pretty, you know, I mean, the 3 probes to the Hellions, it's like, oh, sucks, but after that, he's like, you know what, I hope I'm going to keep it at 3 here and just kind of move up, so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now
really nice move.
Yeah, we end up seeing Puck over here on the other side of the map, moving out with the Stalkers, going to try and put on a little bit of aggression, actually jumping a bit further forward into that bunker, trying to see if he could do a little bit extra damage after forcing the SCVs off the line to repair. He's going to end up losing 1 Stalker, but, I mean, just kind of nice bits of aggression. Again, doing slight bits of economic damage, you know, forcing the SCVs to repair instead of actually mine, but nothing huge.
Yeah, kind of checking his opponent out, too, just saying, like, what do you got at the front? If you really didn't prepare and you didn't have a bunker, then you can start to do some more damage. But nope, Kelazhur gonna not take any damage there, and gonna go into what looks like a pretty standard follow-up. You know, macro-based, as this other command center is on the way. And but the thing that we have to note is what Puck's gonna be. What is Puck gonna be doing afterwards, right? Like he got Blink already. He's continuing to make probes, so I assume that he will be taking a 3rd.
Nice pick up over there. I think he actually kills off the Observer over there, which is a really nice maneuver for Kelazhur. But one really important thing, it's a very, very small thing. In fact, it's quite literally just a reactor on the factory. But that is a good indication that we're going to be seeing a lot of Widow Mines being cranked out, and that Widow Mine production does begin. And again, this is not something that I would have any indication of other than the fact that Kelazhur has told me so. He is doing this style, and he oftentimes will neglect going for Vikings and just be constantly aggressive. It requires a lot of micro, it requires a lot of like multi-prong aggression and everything. But if you can make it work, it can do a lot of damage versus someone like Puck. But Puck so far has shown a really solid defense.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a lot of aggression thrown his way, and he is able to hold on pretty easily.
Yeah.
But, it's a nice check by that medevac. But Puck is seeing this whole thing too with the Observer there.
Oh yeah, really nicely positioned.
Look at that, yeah. Even
God, another observer.
the pig baby status, but not quite pig baby status yet, but it is definitely he knows what's going on and what the potential is of danger. And Kelazhur does look like he wants to do something here, and Blink is not finished yet. When it does finish, these drops are a little bit easier to deal with.
Yep. Kelazhur forces out a 1 photon overcharge over the natural expansion, and that's going to be enough for him to just say, okay, well, let me just sit tight for a little bit longer. I only have really 2 targets to attack. He does not really familiar or aware of the fact that there is a 3rd expansion now going up for Puck right now. He does decide to actually poke around over there. I think it might behoove him, especially with his 3rd expansion going up behind this. If he can deny that 3rd expansion while getting up his own, that'll be a really nice win.
Indeed.
Oh.
Now here comes it. Yep, that drop does want to get something done, but not quite able to. Even one Colossus here. The way that Puck splits his army is really nice, but here it comes. This is a very Marauder-heavy army. So
yeah.
Kelazhur was not careful. Oh no, I was gonna say if Puck wasn't careful, he could lose a Colossus.
Yeah, at the same time, Kelazhur getting pushed back over the 3rd expansion and in the main base. Once again, Puck's just really, really solid defense on multiple angles. Holding strong, and we'll see if Kelazhur can make some magic happen once the Widow Mines actually start to get in the mix. He is starting to get some of those guys out, but doesn't actually have them with his army just yet.
Nope. But a nice drop in the natural. Not going to do too much here. There is a photon overcharge as well as a cannon, but actually some probes are getting targeted down. And Kelazhur just saying, you know what, it's all good. As long as he doesn't lose the medevac.
He kills off like 3 probes, but he ends up losing a lot of the units inside that drop. It was
he only killed 3. I thought that he killed more.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if he can make a little bit more damage happen once he has the double medevac drop. But this time, the medevacs are actually getting focus fired down. Units completely trapped in over here and not really doing a whole lot more damage. God, Kelazhur, he's looking for the opportunity, but finally he may actually be finding it as he moves into the 3rd expansion, but no.
Just a little too late.
Just seconds. Not fast enough, but...
But yeah, I mean, Kelazhur is actually in a little bit of well, not trouble actually. I mean, it's just the fact that he's trying to do this multi-pronged aggression, but he's not getting much done here. And now Puck's army is starting to really grow in size. And when this is happening, you're supposed to retain your units so that you can match with this Protoss army that's going to be coming across the map. Because you said he doesn't like to make those Vikings, and you know what you need against 3 Colossus, and that number is only climbing.
Yeah, so one of the things that he was saying, and this is it. This is it, Tempo, as we see the bunkers going up.
Oh, wow.
His natural expansion 3rd. This is the weird thing, and you're exactly right. If you're up against that big attack force from Puck, it's a very scary prospect. But here's the thing. Bunkers help out a lot against splash damage. Because obviously bunkers are really big, beefy things, but they actually contain the units they add as that big health buffer. And if he gets that, and just goes for constant counterattacks and says basically says you're never really allowed to move out. You notice he's been constantly aggressive, even if he hasn't been able to accomplish a lot of damage or make a lot of damage happen. He's kept Puck on the side of the map, and he's going to continue to try and do so. And if Puck ever decides to go for like a base trade situation where he moves across the map with his big Doom army, the bunkers really help delay. And of course, getting the bunker upgrades is also going to help, as he is actually getting the Neo Steel Frame upgrades.
Well then. All right, well, let's see how this is going to work out for him. He's trying to get some stuff done here, but of course that observer does see every time this army goes around this side. But that's not really what Kelazhur is actually trying to accomplish. He's setting up Widow Mines minefield on the left side.
Oh my god, so many Widow Mines actually, and most of the army over here at the natural in the 3rd are actually mainly zealots, so he can get some great shots off and just murder those zealots.
Indeed, and that's just like a distraction here with this drop.
Yeah,
he's gonna lose those mines though.
Ooh, that's a little unfortunate. He wants to keep that mine count high to deal with massive zealot count over here. But I love that Kelazhur just keeps trying to abuse this location on the low ground of the main base by that cybernetics core. If you can pick off the cybernetics core, it stops the stalker production. It just makes it very, very annoying. But Puck has finished up Blink, and he blinks down, finally cleans up that drop.
Yeah, but there's a little bit of a misstep here from Puck too. I think he moved all of his probes to the gas side of his natural, so he's actually hurting for money.
Oh man,
and he's gonna look at that and kick himself.
Yeah, he's not gonna be looking at it just yet though, because Kelazhur is still being aggressive over here. Oh my god, the 3rd expansion may be target bar down over here. Is Kelazhur gonna go for it? No, not actually gonna be going for it. just going to be backing up. He knows that if he loses too many units, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Only just now is Kelazhur finally going to be getting a couple of Vikings. He sees, okay, your Colossus count, you're up to 4 Colossus, and if you continue producing those, this is going to start to get a little bit too ridiculous.
Oh, nice blink to go ahead and get one of the medevacs out, but I don't think it was the one that had all of the units.
Oh my god, Widowmine at the natural expansion kills 9 probes with the final shot. That was a great, just barely out of range of the photon cannon.
Oh, a lot of damage getting done to Puck here. It's starting to look kind of grim because Kelazhur is up to 4 bases, but he's not mining too heavily from the 4th, but it is at least up. And he's continuing to augment his army. Look at this, yeah. Look at these cool-ass bunkers, man. And they even have the little carbot things on them, too.
Oh, yeah.
So what's that other one? So the Neo Steel frame is the cargo space one, and then I guess that is yeah, that's just it. It just makes your bunkers look really cool. They didn't put that in the tool tech.
Exactly. I mean, these are basically going to it's a new level of strategy, Tempo. Puck basically says, what are those? Is he hacking right now? There's something wrong with your bunkers, dude. I didn't know that those skins were available.
The skins, right? And
then they're going to be available for BlizzCon or something.
And a really huge force from Kelazhur at 2-2. And 3-3 is actually going to be finishing before that of a Protoss, which is very rare for in this situation.
Yeah. Well, Kelazhur's continuing to be aggressive over here, drops over the natural expansion, and there's a handful of Zealots over there to buy time, and I will say that Puck has some pretty good upgrades sitting at 2-2, but Kelazhur matching those at 2-2 as well with 3-3 on the way. Gonna be ahead in upgrades at some point, but losing this army over here. That is a really big loss for Kelazhur. This is going to be the big scary moment. This is where the bunkers come into play, Tempo. And is 4 bunkers going to be enough, even with the bunker upgrades? I'm not sure.
Oh man, really a big loss there for Kelazhur. He did lose a lot, but he is ahead economically, you know, and he's able to trade out like that. And he's making some really nice trades on other sides of the map. But that was definitely one of the less cost efficient ones recently, at least.
Yeah. Here's the really weird part of this, Tempo. His army supply is still ahead of Puck, and I think that has to do with the fact that he's just making Marines, Marauders, and Medvacs. He's not worried about like ghosts or anything, and obviously he's getting Widowmines as well, but he's not making like a ton of Vikings. He doesn't have to worry about like double reactor starport production for Vikings. He basically just gets to continue producing like the more cost-effective, cheaper units for
But now here comes the point where it's that maxed, well not maxed out, but just the fully fleshed out Protoss army that has the Storms, it has the Colossi, it has a decent stalker count to kill those medevacs with Blink. Kelazhur may be in a little bit of trouble here, but yeah.
Oh, little bit maybe an understatement right now, Tempo. The Vikings finally are in okay numbers over here. They're looking for those Colossus, and he's actually just gonna gun them straight down. Managed to get one, but the second Colossus is gonna be able to survive.
And the Storm's going down all on the army of Kelazhur, but wow. Retains his High Templar, but he does lose a few Colossi there.
How does Kelazhur still have
that's what I'm wondering.
More supply than Puck? He just got, okay, let's be honest, that engagement, Puck just murdered that army with Storms and Colossus and everything, but still, Kelazhur is able to just macro out of it and get up another army. He's dropping in the main base again with these Marauders being so annoying, and Puck, he's pulling back again because he's like, I lost so much of my army, like the gateway units, even if I kept the Colossus and everything alive. Yeah. Can I actually move out? No, right now, no. He
actually can, and he's going to be able to clean this up now, though. Kelazhur needs to not be too reckless with his medevac count. You know, he's lost a lot of medevacs this game, 16 medevacs have gone down as a total. Just because, he's trying to do a lot around it, but, like...
he's losing okay, can we... he's losing so much, and if you take a look at the units lost tab, like, it shows also he's lost quite a bit. And as you're saying, 16 medevacs, that's not a normal amount of medevacs to be losing. Like 25 minutes into a TVP. If you usually at that point, you're losing the game, but Kelazhur's still looking okay.
Still ahead. He has a 4th base. He's making double command center here in order to go ahead and take another. But Puck is on 4 bases too, and he's, threw it all out. It's been a very, very rough game for Puck, right? He's been kind of peeled apart.
Oh my god.
But I feel like he's definitely starting to stabilize.
Oh my god, Puck's got to see these bunkers before they finish. There's no... he's going to see like a bunker building out in the middle of the map and be like, what the heck are you doing, Ben? Does he have time to actually kill these right now? There's a big drop going on in the main base.
So many, 2 drops. And he will get rid of the bunkers, but I mean, is those really what he wants to be killing right now? There's a lot of damage getting done in the main of Puck.
Kelazhur would actually salvage the bunkers that were between his natural expansion and his third expansion. Those are supposed to be a big part of the defense over here.
Oh no. He was trying to set up a new position.
Oh my god. Well, he's going to be able to kill off the Cybernetic core. That means that only Zealot Warpin is going to be available over here. But, oh god, even the Zealots are going to be causing a huge amount of problems over here. And then there's not a whole lot of Widowmines at the natural expansion.
They're not, and there's a lot. Oh, the EMPs on all of those Templar, though. There's one lonely Templar that does have the energy here, and he is going to have to go ahead and make the sickest storms. Really nice split, though, from Kelazhur.
Yeah, that one high Templar is going to be building up energy for another Psy Storm. And honestly, right now, Kelazhur's army in the main base is doing a good amount of damage. He's been able to kill off a couple of these gateways, actually. But it is eventually going to get cleaned up with the Colossus and these Zealots over there. In the meanwhile, Puck, I think he's realizing it's also a bit risky for him to stick around for too long also. And, oh my god, actually, Colossus loses his life to the Vikings with the flank.
Yep, the Vikings do go down, but yes, that Colossus did go down as well. And so much damage is being done in the main of Puck, but,
oh
did
my
you see
god.
it?
Widowmines.
He's like, what in the hell? He's like, what is this
Why
bunker?
is there a bunker here?
It's just like a... That's what you should do. Instead of like Manor, Command Center, Manor, whatever, Manor meals, you just make Manor bunkers with the Carbot.
That would be beautiful, man. It's just all the smiley faces, but yeah, two Marauders managing to get a pick off on some of those high tempo. God, I am just so impressed right now with two things, and it's gonna sound really weird when I start talking about what I think that Kelazhur is sort of lacking in this, but Kelazhur's macro and his multi-pronged aggression have been awesome. His micro, it's been good, but it hasn't been like astounding. That's not actually the big key thing. It's just the fact that he's been able to do multi-pronged aggression in lots and lots of different locations.
Yeah.
And even if each one of the individual locations aren't microed amazingly well, like he's not completely out microing Puck by any means, right? Like he's getting stormed in a lot of situations, etc. But he just has so much aggression that it doesn't matter if he's losing units, quote unquote, cost ineffectively. He has the macro to make up, and he's able to get damage done in heavier amounts elsewhere for Puck. And
indeed.
I say heavier amounts, but honestly, it's still looking like an even game to me.
It really does. Like, Puck stabilized a bit. He's getting up his his fifth base, actually. And, but the thing is, Kelazhur, he's setting up as well, already getting his. And, like I was saying, despite all this stuff and all the craziness that's been going on, it's really going to come down to, of course, another engagement between them. You know, Kelazhur should be able to continue to peel Puck around the map, especially with all these new expansions coming down. It's going to become increasingly hard to defend on multiple fronts.
Especially things that are really important, like the Templar Archives actually could be under fire very soon, as it looks like Kelazhur, he's going after some of these units over here, but the Zealot Warping plus the DTs able to push Kelazhur back. That's actually a really, really good adaptation from Puck, saying, you're being so drop heavy, well, you know what's really good against drops? Getting Dark Templars up, because you have to scan every single time you want to kill those guys off.
Yep, and you have to be paying attention. So if you're trying to do this multi-pronged aggression, usually you're not fully dedicated to you're not fully dedicating your attention to each one. So DTs are definitely great.
Really cute maneuver over there by Kelazhur, by the way. He was scanning while the army was going after the Widowmines, the massive number of Widowmines that just got killed off. And I think he was trying to target fire the Widowmines onto the Observer, because if he kills off the Observer, suddenly the rest of the Widowmines can survive a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite
That's
get
actually
it,
nice. So it's the effort that counts, right? A for effort, of course. But now it's Puck is starting to get, you know, back into it. His big EMP, but doesn't really hit anything.
really, I gotta say, like, it's not just like some of the units got hit, but not the important ones. Actually, 0 units got hit over there. But nuclear missile! Well, oh my god, when did this go off?
I guess so. I didn't see that being produced, but here we go. The nice zoning tactic here.
And a natural expansion of...
Is it even targeted? I don't know if it's in range. Well, take that, Pylon.
Those rocks, man, they don't know what's going to be coming to them. No chokes available over here.
Yeah. Dang. But some DT warping going here, the third of Kelazhur as well. He needs to be focusing his attention there now as well. Now it looks like Puck is going to be the one that splits his attention, so...
And really quickly, I want to know, like, Kelazhur is doing some crazy, awesome stuff right now, and people might be thinking, okay, he's doing this because it's a show match, it's not for that much, obviously, it's not, if he loses this, he's not going to be losing the semifinals or knocked out of the tournament. But I want to know, this is something that Kelazhur has said, like, this is his sort of playstyle in TVP, this is his secret playstyle that he actually likes to bust out, so you're very much seeing something that Kelazhur does a lot. So if you're a fan of this playstyle, you should check out Kelazhur.
Def check him out. Yeah. It has definitely been really cool.
It's fun.
And you said TVP your favorite matchup, and now even more.
Oh my god.
And you just see Kelazhur play it out.
Snipes going off, picks off the High Templars, and he can reuse the remaining energy on those EMPs for the Archons.
Cool. Well, things are starting to balance out. Puck is slowly getting to that same army supply as Kelazhur, but it's the bank. The engagement, here it comes. Archons on the bottom side with the Colossi. But this is actually a little bit of a flank as well, and here come the storms on all of the Vikings. And will the Vikings go down before the Colossi do? One more Colossi might go down, and it does. But these Vikings are putting in some work. But here comes the Biofear Dragon, and uh-oh.
Tempo, I want to note something really amazing about what just happened there, and the reason why Kelazhur was able to win that, despite the fact that he was getting flanked. He was getting flanked, but you know what the Colossus were doing? They were flanking the bunkers that were up. They were dealing with a small number of units over there that were keeping them from running in and actually killing off those big, juicy packs of Bio Army that were over at the north side of that engagement. And that was what allowed him, like, to actually take that engagement. And I swear to God, without the bunkers,
it would have been a whole different story for sure.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, because the splash damage is pretty much there is none because it's just a bunker there. So, wow, this is such a crazy game. Actually, like you did not fail to deliver. Not you, but you know, you said like,
yeah, right.
The hype. Kelazhur did not fail.
Kelazhur is not failing to deliver.
Well, I'm digging it.
First drop that we're actually seeing for in a little bit, actually. Kelazhur's kind of calmed down on them a little bit, just because I think Puck. And this is the thing actually about this map specifically. Look at their expansions. I want to say 5th expansions. Yeah, their 5th expansion. I don't know what expansion it is for Kelazhur. He's quite literally taken his entire map, his entire side of the map. But they're basically right outside of each other's vision range and like mineral lines, etc. for mining. So that actually means it makes it in some ways a lot easier for Puck, because his army's always right there. As soon as there's a drop, Puck says, well, you don't have as many units out to defend if I go and kill your expansions. And he can just immediately move out and try and warp in to defend. So it becomes a lot harder for Kelazhur to make this kind of multi-pronged drop harassment happen.
Yeah, you've seen him kind of tone down in it, right? Like he hasn't done it as much. And it does let Puck breathe a bit. He's mining on those bases. They've split the map pretty well here. And
I would say Puck gets to breathe equally as much as Kelazhur, because their armies are just a stone's throw away. These are actually the trenches from World War II. Like, people talk about like the trench warfare with Swarmos versus Swarmos. These are actual. This is actual trench warfare where losing things does matter, and it's actually just really tense. It's not just like, well, I wonder when you know, these Swarmos are eventually going to be able to push into these other Swarmos. This is like high stakes.
For real, yeah. And it's so weird. Like, how often do you see that? You know, it's usually armies moving around back and forth and chasing, but it's like this position right here that Kelazhur has set up with the mines as well, and Puck would usually feel like he could attack if he wanted to, try to like at least move around the map, but he feels kind of constricted right now. And
it's such a cool thing. God, Tempo, I'm really loving this style out of Kelazhur, and I'll tell you why. People talk about like defensive play styles, so boring to watch, blah blah blah. Kelazhur is now in a defensive position at his opponent's base. Yeah. So it's like a defensively aggressive.
Yeah. I don't what does Puck do though? Like does he just max out and then try to like what is the engagement that he wants? Like what would be the ideal one, you know? It's like
I'm gonna say a word, Tempo, and I wanna hear what your thoughts are on it as Kelazhur's finally starting to put on a little bit more kind of like aggression. He's sacking in a couple of units because he has the bank to replenish it, but Tempest. I mean, starting to put some pressure on those bunkers, starting to say, like, look, eventually you got to do some damage because I'm eventually going to kill off these bunkers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that is, that would actually be incredible, yeah. So, he doesn't have a Stargate though, and he's probably not, like, used to this style either. He's like, what in the hell, what to do here?
Yeah, right. I just had a thought. Normally, you can put pressure on with Tempest, right? Because you're like, eventually going to do damage and it's going to kill your stuff. With bunkers, the Tempest will kill stuff really slowly. So you can actually unload it, salvage it, and then you're only losing 25 minerals. It's going to be like the slowest Tempest harassment ever.
Yeah, and then you don't want to overcommit to them either, because then the ground army will just obliterate you, so. Oof.
Zealots moving around and can actually take down those destructible rocks for Kelazhur. So Puck maybe opening up opportunity for his own bit of harassment. And I think actually that is one thing that's worth noting is the fact that Kelazhur, he's being very aggressive by being out in the center of the map, but this kind of harassment over in the main base, maybe getting a warp prism or something, that could actually be really, really nice maneuver from Puck, because they're kind of starting to get little bits of banks, but they're not actually in huge numbers just yet.
It's not, yeah.
Income-wise.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And a nice little skirmish here on the right side. Cloak Ghosts are here as well, though. There's no observer. Oh, but I believe that the splash damage actually killed it. Well, oh, no, there was an observer here.
Oh my god, huge EMP is on top of all of these High Templars. Actually, just Puck has one High Templar left over. Could this actually be the opportunity for Kelazhur to actually move in?
I think it is. He's moving out, though. Moving back to the mines as well. And now Puck can't even come down that ramp. Look at all the mines that are right there.
Oh my god, that extra damage versus the shields of the Archons working out very, very well, but man, Puck he's actually split up really, really nicely with some of his army on the right-hand side, some of his army on the bottom side. And even though he's in a very awkward position between these mines, it allows him to get a really nice concave on the army of Kelazhur if he tries to push in.
All right, there we go. So he's taking out the mines right now. That bunker is on fire, so if it doesn't get repaired, it will die, but there's about 3 others.
Yeah. And a couple of SCVs also there to repair it. Kelazhur is on top of this tempo. Don't worry. He cares about his bunkers, man.
He does. But I'm starting to worry a bit for Puck. He is maxed out, but his bank is actually looking a lot smaller than that of Kelazhur, so he needs to try to take a cost-efficient engagement. But how do you take a cost-efficient engagement against a Terran that is set up like this?
Oh man, well, at the same time, Kelazhur's actually doing a drop over at one of the bottom left-hand expansions, but here we end up seeing the big engagement go down. Kelazhur is retreating back to the safety of those bunkers. Bunkers going to be soaking up a lot of those Colossus shots while Kelazhur tries to clean up these Zealots, but oh my god, the Zealots, they are just not dying. 3-3-3 upgrades.
Oh my god, and another Warpin coming down here. Gonna go ahead and flank. Kelazhur running from bunker to bunker. It's just, I think this is actually not going to be able to hold. He's falling in supply so rapidly. He's actually at... only down to, oh my god, the army supply, 101 to 67.
Oh man.
Puck is going to just push this now. He feels like he's on top of the world. He needs to.
He's repairing up that planetary fortress, going to keep it alive as long as possible. At the same time, he's going to be killing off that right-hand expansion up Puck. He's denied pretty much all of the mining over the bottom left-hand expansion, but it's, in a sense, going to be a weird base trade, but here's the thing. Puck has a big enough army that he is going to be totally fine, killing off pretty much all of the economy of Kelazhur at this point, and then retreating back home.
But Kelazhur also killing the economy of Puck. But the problem, like you said, is the army supply. How is he going to be able to actually engage that army when it comes down to it? He's trying to. He's actually going to be... oh, if he gets the last Colossus, that'd be pretty big.
Gets very close. So I think with the next 2 Vikings are going to be popping... well, actually, no. Just Medevac's popping right now. No Vikings on the way. Only just now going to be started. A natural expansion command center actually goes down. Maybe needs to lift up those supply depots. Not quite able to in time.
That bank that Kelazhur had is actually not there anymore. And GG, well played. Puck is able to take it after a 45-minute, like, intense TVP that...
oh my god. Yeah, man. I thought Intense was playing later today.
It's like, wait a minute. You're on the same team, too, Puck and Intense.
Right. Oh my god, yeah. That's actually true. I forgot about that, but... sick play out of there from both of those players. I know Kelazhur ended up losing the game, and obviously I have a bit of bias just because these are the players that basically I'm doing an entire show on. But Kelazhur, seriously, if you were not impressed or at least like really enjoying that game, you don't love StarCraft in the ways that I do. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Well, with that being said, that was just game 1. We get another game out of this, potentially even 2 games before we jump onto the next series. So Puck gonna be leading up to series 1-0, and you know, here's the thing, Tempo. Initially, that's probably gotta be one of those moments like that game 1 in the early stages. Puck's probably gotta be like, you know, you don't really have that many Vikings. Yeah. Wait, you're making a lot of why are you making bunkers in the middle of the map? Yeah. All of this stuff. It was just so, it's when I think like Puck definitely had that moment in the game. It's like, what in the hell? Yeah, but he adapted really, really fast and really, really well. Got his solid play definitely working out. Yeah. And okay, never mind. I had some, actually, QXE is actually around. Of course, he was around the entire time. I don't know why anyone would think otherwise. I know, right? He was just,
you know, wanted to watch a few games to get some inspiration.
Yeah, but he just told me for a second. He was like, "Oh, is the stream offline?" I was like, "No, it's online for me." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not. Okay, we're apparently not attached on Team Liquid again.
It keeps doing that then, huh?
Oh man. Okay, I'm actually just gonna disconnect the whole like auto detect stream because I think that might be broken or something. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just set it up. And unfortunately, that is actually really, really annoying because, of course, we do love all you fellow people joining here from Team Liquid. And it's a pleasure to have you. Actually, it's a pleasure to have all of you, especially the people who are coming in from like channels that are hosting. I know you're hosting. I know God, I always have trouble pronouncing this name. Sapphire, Brazilian guy. I do know that. Hosting Escape Champ and of course the Real Nan Man. Pleasure to have everyone from those channels. And with that being said, Tempo, let's go ahead and introduce the first players. Take it away, man.
Alrighty, folks. Spawning in the top left-hand corner. After a grueling match on King Sejong Station, he was able to take it, leading the series of this best of 3, 1-0. It is the IVD representative, Puck.
And his opponent, spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, on the map, Deadwing, is going to be the blue Terran player. Showed us some really, really great styles and advances in that last game. Can he do it again, or is he going to do it again? It is Pro Dolly's Kelazhur.
All right.
So, Tempo, I don't actually know the answer to this.
Okay.
You probably don't have you don't have like a guaranteed answer, but I want to hear your thoughts. Like, do you think that's a style that Kelazhur will do, like maybe a couple of games in a best of like 7 series, or like, you know, maybe one game in a best of 3? Or do you think that's a style that he's going to like be able to do repeatedly?
I mean, I feel like, I wonder, right? Like, do you do that kind of style, especially from someone who's defending pretty well like Puck was? I feel like, okay, I feel like he was very successful in it. It just needed to retain the medevacs, retain some of the units that he was, you know, losing when he was doing all of that, and then start to trade with Puck, you know what I mean? Because like what would happen is he'd be remaking the units that he lost to get like some economic damage done or focus some attention somewhere else, and then he would be replenishing his army rather than adding to it. So he never had that overwhelming amount that he was ever able to engage Puck's army with. But I really feel like he probably, I wouldn't be surprised if he did it again, but he's starting a little bit different this map. But yeah, on Deadwing, going for the Reaper.
Well, we'll see how.
I mean, that's just a little different, but it doesn't mean that he can't go into a style.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things. I think the big core part of it, and we noticed this in the last game, right? It wasn't like the super crazy opening that he went for. Obviously, going up for a faster factory did help out in like transitioning into that, but it wasn't like the immediate opening, and it wasn't even like the super duper late game stuff. It was like that mid game when he started to go into that style.
Yeah.
I would say it started when he got a reactor on the factory. That's what like started it.
And didn't switch it over to a starport.
Yeah, well, he already had a reactor in his starport. He got a reactor for starport, and then he got another reactor for his factory.
Okay. Yeah. The reactory.
The reactory. I like that, man.
Yeah.
It's not as cool of a one for a starport though.
No, but it's all good. I mean, that would kind of take away from the uniqueness of the reactory if the starport had one.
That's true, man. That's true. It's a reactory style.
But that was really cool style, and we'll see exactly how he does go about this game. You know, it's a bit different style of a map. Big map, you know, so.
Yeah.
But the thing about this map is that it's not as easy to exploit the medevacs with the drops, especially if you take that third with the rocks.
So that's the really interesting thing. I'm wondering about that. And I'm thinking, one very important thing is Puck's gonna need to make sure he knocks down those rocks as soon as humanly possible. As soon as he decides to grab that 4th expansion. Reaper gonna come in over here and get a scout off and everything. But again, like, I don't think that there's anything too crazy medevac wise that can be done on this map, just because it's a nice ground distance between like the main base, the natural expansion, the 3rd and the 4th. Drops can like go up and down that cliff between the 4th and the main, but it's it's still much easier to transition your army around the areas. So I'm really interested to see if Kelazhur is going to move into that same style. Because again, he's opening up a little bit differently. He's gotten up to the 3 racks. He's getting up concussive shells actually very early. This tells me he wants to make some early pressure before medevacs pop out, and he wants to force out a photon overcharge and see what damage he can do.
Yeah, well, someone else who's playing a little bit different is our IVD Protoss going ahead and proxying a Stargate on the other side of the map. And there are a lot of Marines here, so I was going to get a little nervous if, you know, the concussive shell upgrade was getting upgraded, and then he just started making a bunch of Marauders and didn't have any anti-air.
I am still worried, though, because this is something he wants to move out across the map with. He's starting to move out now, and guess what? That Oracle is just now on the way, and once that pops out, Kelazhur's got to rely on whatever units are just left back at home and producing.
Yeah, he'll have nothing there. He's not going to have enough.
Well, okay.
You need at least like 5 Marines per Oracle.
Oh, God, he's moving out with his reinforcements, too.
Yeah, oh my God. So we're going to have a photon overcharge defense with a few Stalkers. Hopefully, we'll see if Kelazhur is able to equalize, right? Because he needs to get some damage done with this push. He can't just force a photon overcharge and go home.
The nice thing is that Kelazhur has enough units that he can maybe move into the main base, even if the photon overcharge gets popped up over here. And actually, there's going to be buildings that can snipe off in the main base, even if a second photon overcharge gets popped up over there. Stalkers immediately going down, and concussive shells makes it so hard, but Kelazhur, he's not going to take the gamble. He's not going to be moving into the main base.
And it looks like Puck is going to wait for 2 Oracles here.
Oh, God.
And I wonder if Kelazhur was even tipped off a bit when he scouted with that Reaper that died.
His engineering bay is finished up, so he can build missile turrets, but now the Oracles move in over here. There's actually a decent number of Marines.
Oh, gotta be careful. You're gonna lose one of the Oracles here. There are enough enough Marines here for this Oracle. So I feel like if Puck did go in with that first one, he would have been able to get a lot of damage done, but now turrets are gonna get put up, and it's gonna be a lot harder to get damage done.
Oh, unfortunately, this Oracle doesn't have quite enough energy. I feel like actually, if he had just a little bit more energy, could have started going after like the tech lab or something. But actually,
there he
got
goes,
a lot of workers over here. 6 workers killed before the missile turret finishes. 7.
So yeah, I thought it was actually not going to get anything done. So really nice move with that Oracle. And now though, here's a big push coming out of Kelazhur.
Oh, sentries! 1 sentry goes down.
Look at that! The Marines and the Marauders are trapped in a glass cage of emotion. They're just like, I guess I just shoot the Nexus, but oh, there's an opening. But
I'm gonna go back and write on my Zanga about this.
But here comes some reinforcements, and Stim is gonna be finishing very shortly.
Oh my God, Kelazhur still has not thrown down a factory. He still has not looked at getting a medevacs out or anything like this. He's just rallying his units across the map, and Oracle now moving in, trying to do a little bit more damage. The Marines gonna be able to do some really good damage to the Oracle. Oracle barely goes down. 1 single tick left over to kill off that final Marine, but with the Oracle going down and Puck doesn't seem to be producing any more, this is gonna really allow Kelazhur to take control of the map. And this constant aggression, he's only just now getting out the factory. So is Puck gonna be prepared for this?
Well, he need to utilize his force fields. This is a little bit difficult. That's a lot of bio coming in. There's no photon overcharge either.
Puck was not expecting this.
Army value is tripled.
Oh my God, another stim up. He takes out a lot of these probes, and guess what? GG gets called. Kelazhur gonna even up the series 1-1.
Switching it up. Switching it up. And despite losing a lot of those SCVs, he just was able to keep a very aggressive style and keep his army value up so high. Because Puck was up by about like 15 workers or so.
Yeah, here's the thing, Tempo. This is like the big thing. Kelazhur delayed his factory and his medevacs and starport way longer than any normal Terran would. Like that was a very delayed factory that was throwing down. He just kept saying 3 racks, I'm gonna get like a +1, I'm gonna get my like upgrades for Stim and everything. And then I'll eventually think about getting a factory and going up to like medevacs, because I guess I need them at some point if I don't just end the game. But Puck, he's not. He just kind of was playing around that normal Protoss style that says, oh well, you know, this is the point where the Terran player, like I'm starting to get up my big power units in a second. This is the point where the Terran player has to say, you know what, you got to respect what I have. Now I have to deal with drops and stuff, but it's a different kind of aggression. It's not that big army just like barreling down your front like Kelazhur did. So it was something that Puck was very much not ready for. He wasn't anticipating that.
Indeed. And the fact that he did go for Stargate meant that he wouldn't have those power units.
And he It's really interesting though, because I guess the Oracle should have been able to get a nice scout off. So I think that was one of the reasons why he didn't just do something like, immediately plop down a robotics bay and try to like rush out a Colossus or something. But yeah, it's I'm really interested to see how Puck is going to adapt, or if Kelazhur is going to do the same thing. That honestly feels that one specifically felt like a one-off build. That's like something that you feel like, I'm going to keep you greedy, because that's something Terran players don't do these days. Terran players are like, okay, I'm not going to really get a whole lot of damage done versus a Protoss because of Photon Overcharge. Kelazhur is like, no,
I don't care. Yeah.
I can make this happen.
So, well, the map is going to be Nimbus, so another big map here. And it makes me wonder what we are going to see. Oh, no, Puck picked Terran.
Oh, well, this is the ultimate mind game. All right, well, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Gonna be hopping into the next game eventually, but we do know what the map is now, and it is going to be Nimbus. Now, do you have any kind of thoughts on Nimbus? I know it's particular. Nimbus to me is one of those maps that actually defending a third expansion and a fourth expansion for a Protoss player, because we talk a lot about drops and stuff. Kelazhur is definitely a fan. I say he's a fan of it, but not in that last game. But
yeah,
it's something you have to factor in, and it's very difficult for a Protoss player to defend that fourth expansion sometimes.
Indeed. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen Kelazhur being a fan of the drop, so it's definitely one of those maps that Terran do love to drop on, but I feel like a lot of Protoss are, even Zerg, have kind of acknowledged that and have started to make a lot of static defense just to not be picked apart by it.
Yeah. And sorry guys, I do actually want to note, because a lot of people have been talking about it in the chat, unfortunately, we don't actually have quality options. I don't know exactly what's going on with that. Normally, of course, this channel is not actually partnered right now, so I don't just inherently get the quality options, but it used to be a thing on Twitch where we would get the quality options after getting over 100 viewers, but apparently it's I don't know if it's not the case anymore, if it's Twitch is bugging out about it, and maybe if somebody who knows about that can I don't know, get in touch with someone who, like, from Twitch or something. I tweeted out a Twitch support about it.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a problem the past 2 days, but unfortunately, we don't really want to, like, turn down the stream, because otherwise we would turn down the stream to, like, really low quality for everybody. So hopefully you guys decide to bear with it. I think that we aren't doing, like, 60 FPS or anything crazy. It's not, like, 1080p either. It's, like, pretty standard, like, esports standard right now, 720p. That's 30 frames per second, like... Oh, it is 1080? Oh. Okay, actually, maybe after this series then, or this game, we'll drop down to 720. Okay. Well then, guys, we're going to be jumping into this next game as it has started. The players do have the correct races. And we're going to be spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, top of the blue Terran player. Representing Team Pro Dolly, currently tied 1-1. It is Kelazhur.
And his opponent spawning in the top right, representing IVD Gaming, it is Puck, aka Sloopy.
You have to remind me that after this series, we have to ask Puck where he got the name Sloopy.
I need to know.
Am I an admin? No, I'm not. I'm not an admin right now.
Say it like right now, yeah.
I was like, normally if this was like an important match, I'd be like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't ask it. But honestly, I would probably ask, just because it's just like, it's like a $25 show match, just fun.
Yeah.
And we have been seeing some really sick games though. You know what? I actually take it back. I actually probably would be a little bit hesitant, because this series has actually been really close. Like, game number 1 was super close. Game number 2 was a really cool build from Kelazhur that I don't think was like necessarily Puck getting completely outplayed, but he did not actually anticipate it, and he was playing a little bit too greedy and got punished for it. So, of course, Current TV showing off the Christmas tree on this map.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, man. Current knows about all the secret tricks.
All the Easter eggs, right?
There's a new map pool coming out. I'm like, hey, Current, how you doing? And he's like, oh yeah, by the way, big shout out to our observer at Current TV.
Current TV, best observer NA, son.
Definitely, but yeah, I swear, like, I'll talk to him and I'll be like, how you been, Current? And he'll be like, I haven't slept for like 4 days. I'm like, what? Why? He's like, I'm literally looking it through every single inch of the new map. Oh my god, so dedicated. He's gonna find all of those like polar bears and hidden sharks, Christmas trees, etc. But look at what's going on in that natural expansion of Puck.
Ooh, that's annoying. And that's gonna get a, oh my god, it's gonna actually get all the way up to about like what, 99%. And that's gonna be very annoying to deal with. Oh. And there's no idea. Well, I guess maybe he had a slight idea because he did make that zealot. And he's gonna say, "Oh, you."
Yeah, the zealot really is there for that. But with the Reaper coming out, that's actually gonna cause a little bit more problems just because the Stalker's only just now starting. He's gonna have the Mothership Core try and deal with the Reaper for a little bit. Obviously, it's like added DPS that just is there, but he's gonna need to pull the zealot in if he wants to like zone out that Reaper.
Yeah, a little bit of annoyance because he would love to use that Mothership Core for the added DPS.
Right.
But Kelazhur, behind all this, what is he gonna be going for?
Second
okay, yeah.
And
I was gonna say, yeah, he's pulled out of gas completely, so he's just gonna continue to make barracks, SCVs, just getting out the bunker so that he doesn't die to some kind of counter push that is a result of this such a delayed Nexus.
Yeah.
Or Stalker pressure or anything like that. So he should be all right. Nimbus is a great map to hold things like that.
Oh, definitely. And it's kind of, I had a moment where I was like, is Kelazhur going for a fast +1? I see an engineering bay in the production tab, and I'm like, oh, wait a second, yeah, the engineering block. But, you know, the bunker at the front really does indicate to me that he's maybe concerned about how long he's delayed Puck's natural expansion. And Puck, honestly, like if a Terran player plays a little bit too greedy on that, it's very easy for a Protoss player to just say, I'm going to poke across the map with a Stalker while I get up some gateways. And if you don't have anything, I just warp in and I kill you. So, like, I like that Kelazhur's playing a little bit on the safer side for that. But wow, great zoning over here from Puck. Kills off the Reaper.
Nice. So, two Stalkers are going to make their way across the map. And, oh, I was going to say we see that concussive shell being made again, but no, it is going to be Stim here for Kelazhur. Will we see the factory, though, is the question. Will it ever be made this game? Or will they continue with that very, very heavy barracks pressure?
Oh, it's actually so funny right now, right? Like, we've actually seen a different style out of Kelazhur every single game, and this is the game he goes to standard. So now we get to see kind of what standard play is going to look like.
Indeed, and Puck not proxying the Stargate this time. He is going to be making it inside of his base. And adding the two gateways again, so he's playing it a little bit safe as well, but he does need to get damage done with this Oracle if he's going to... you know, at least want to get some value, but I think there's a little bit of an issue here is that Kelazhur already had that eBay done. He's starting to make turrets just in case.
Yeah.
And, it shouldn't get too much damage done. It's just, I wonder how it's going to be playing out for Puck because we saw it last game where he kind of delayed his tech in order to try to get that damage done. And although Kelazhur's not going to expect it, he's still prepared for it.
Yeah, I think it's going to work out a lot better for Puck this game in a sense. Not necessarily in terms of how much damage he'll get done, but Money Scout actually sees the Stargate, sees all of the units that are out right now, and has a very good idea of what's going on now. And he also should... He already has the missile turrets up, but I think that this game, there's not going to be any way for like Kelazhur to be like, I'm going to punish you for the fact that you opened Stargate by going for aggression. No, he has a decent number of units he could maybe force out a Foot-Tune Overcharge, but there's no like big follow-up from this. He's gotten up the factory. He's getting up the starport now.
Yeah. He's going to try to get damage done, but going to be greeted by a missile turret. There's no defense, though, about the main. It's just going to be Marines, but with two Oracles... Oh, never mind. That's actually quite a few Marines.
Yeah. A decent. There's more than enough Marines, I think, to split up between the main base and the natural. But yeah, there is no missile turret in the main base, which is kind of interesting. I guess that's probably why he's leaving most of his Marines in that area. But none in the mineral line, so gonna have to be very careful. It's kind of like a riskier thing. You could maybe get a easier snipe off on those Oracles, but you do risk having this happen where your Marines are all on the right-hand side and the Oracles move into the main. And oh my god, the wall-in is actually... These production facilities are going to make it very difficult for the Marines to get over there.
It will indeed, but will Puck lose one of these? He is going to have to move it. 10 HP. But now they're in a little awkward situation where it's like, hey, what's up? How y'all doing over there, you know?
Yeah, right.
Nice weather over here.
Well, behind this, we do actually have Puck doing that good old Protoss thing. He's getting up his robotics base saying, I kind of know everything that's going on in your base, and you really can't be aggressive right now because I have Oracles over here. Just getting up the robotics bay, getting up a Twilight Council, getting up Blink, just getting up everything and just powering up on that tech and economy.
Yeah. And this is a little different than last game. You know, we're seeing this come out now. And he does have it. And Nimbus is much easier to defend, you know, because you can force field that ramp. And there's no medevacs out just yet, are there? Oh, there are 2 medevacs, so
yeah,
drop play could be a factor to kind of bypass the force fields. But I'm a little bit worried just a bit because there's not gonna be a Colossus that is gonna be out.
Oh yeah, Colossus is only just now actually getting started since the robotics bay only just finished up. But
yep.
As you were saying, the sentry is going to be very, very important for the actual defense. Scan goes down. That's often a tip-off for a Protoss player. The move-in is coming and gets that force field off. And, of course, nice little attempted dropship micro over there from Kelazhur. But the Marauder gets killed off first. And knocking down these blocks, actually, this could be really, really scary.
Yeah, this is actually very, very scary. That army is no joke. It does have +1 already.
It's baiting out the force fields.
Oh my god, is it going to be enough? Really nice force fields, though, splitting the army perfectly in half, but is it actually going to be enough? Colossus needs to join the battle right now. It is going to be here, but it does not have the extended thermal lance. That means it has the same range as the Marauders, and there are quite a few of them.
Yeah, Photon Overcharge is also helping out quite a bit. Kelazhur actually reinforcing with his medevacs, boosting across the map, trying to get those units over there ASAP, but actually the Oracles now looking to move back in. They have a lot of energy. There is a single missile turret actually inside, actually protecting all of the add-ons. That's actually such a cool thing that you don't actually see a lot of Terrans do. A lot of Terrans kind of they skip out on that. If there's...
I mean, we even saw him do it, kind of try to get away without having a turret there for a bit, and he's like, you know what, it'd probably be a good idea if I put a turret in my mineral line, and that is what he did. So now we're seeing that drop play coming out of Kelazhur. There's only a single cannon, and that's not going to be enough.
Oracle's
Photon Overcharge added.
Yeah, Oracle's going to be backing up, and at the same time, this drop actually loses one of medevacs. That means he's going to be losing a lot of his units over here. He gets out with a full medevac worth of units, but how much damage did he make? Oh, actually, he's moving into the main base.
Indeed he is, and there's really nothing here. SimCity is going to actually help Puck here, but needs to be so careful that he does not overextend, but Puck's army is looking pretty good. You know, it's not like before where he just had a stalker in like 3 centuries, but
yeah, right.
Those Colossus really make Terran think twice about actually trying to go for the attack.
Yeah, one thing I will say that this is nice about this aggression from Kelazhur is that I feel like Puck has not really felt safe getting that 3rd expansion, because once that 3rd expansion is finally down, that's where the drop defense becomes a little bit complicated. Right now, it's annoying because you can move in at a very, very easy angle to the natural expansion, but it's still dealable, right? You can move between the main base and the natural expansion. Once he gets the 3rd, though, it becomes harder, and Kelazhur has his 3rd now finished up.
Yep, it's right about to act. Puck went and, okay, it did finish from there. Puck sniped the SCV right before it finished.
Ooh, Kelazhur made on that.
Right? The fact that an orbital command is already on the way and the Protoss player has not even started his Nexus.
Yeah. Well, Kelazhur actually unloading directly underneath this great observer from Puck. He's had full vision of this drop coming in and out constantly, and he's going to be able to warp in a couple of stalkers. The thing that Puck definitely does have is a lot of units, so I want to see right now, because Kelazhur has that 3rd expansion, he knows his opponent doesn't have a 3rd. I want to see him continue this aggression, like keep Puck scared and at home.
Yeah.
But very, very non-committal about it. Don't lose any more units, because if you just lose a couple too many, the big counter push, it just kills you.
It will kill you, yeah. Especially keeping that medevac count up so that you can make the Vikings. I mean, how are we seeing it, though? I mean, the Widow Mines are starting to get produced again. Shall we see that Neo Steel frame? I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. I feel like Nimbus is a map that actually, it could work out.
Yeah, I could see, like, maybe if he... I feel like he's going to have to be in a very aggressive position. You know that normally there's that choke where, like, you can defend, like, between your 3rd, your main, and your natural, like, right around that area. There's, like, a wrap-around area that you could go to, but if you can get bunker set up somewhere, like, there, it becomes, like, a contain, right? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think it's still going to be very difficult for him to make something like that work, though.
Yeah. It's just the fact that he hasn't been able to get that 3rd up either, but, we'll see. Another starport is being made here for Kelazhur.
Drop gets killed off also.
Yeah.
Nice pick off by Midday, or sorry, not Midday. Wow. Fuck.
But the thing about it is that you see, like, Puck not skimping out on that static defense at all. You see 4 cannons in that middle line. He does not want to have to deal with drops here.
Well, I think it's very important, because right now he's trying to establish that 3rd expansion. It's exactly what we were talking about before. Kelazhur has been so unbelievably aggressive with those drops that, you know, you got to anticipate it. So having 4 cannons there, sorry, and a photon overcharge is actually active right now.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like there's no way that's going to happen. All you have to do is position your army between the third and the main, and you should be able to defend.
Indeed, and that's very important. The fact that because if he splits out his army and the attention is focused, and it's just you know, you do it wrong once and you lose a big chunk of your army, and then that could be a result. That could result in you losing your third as well. So yeah. Puck is really good at splitting his army, but I mean, I always agree with this move when you cannon up your natural on this map, especially.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I'm interested how this is gonna go, because one thing, we might see a big engagement. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, Stalker's
Looks
actually
like it.
right underneath the Vikings. There's only 3 Vikings left, 2 Vikings left over, 1 Viking. Okay, Widowmine's a saving grace of those Vikings, but God, there's only 2 Vikings left over against 5 Colossus.
yeah, what is Kelazhur gonna do when it comes to that engagement? I mean, he's trying to use the Widow Mines, but they just haven't been as effective. Puck making sure that his Colossi and the Stalkers do kill it before his Zealots. And big old Doom Drop about to go into the natural. And this is really the only way to bypass static defense. And he's going to try to do it. 4 medevacs full of units.
And 4 Cannon's going to be able to buy a little bit of time, but not all that much as the army moves in over here. I say it's an army because it is basically an army dropped in. An army actually moves in at the natural expansion in the third as well, though, but that gets cleaned up very quickly.
Yeah, really nice split here. Taking one of the Colossus and then a few Archons, and then the Zealots will be able to tank that damage forever, as you know how resilient that they are, you know, especially when they have 3-3, but they are only at the 2-1 at the moment. But he pretty much held that perfectly fine.
No, look at this Oracle over here. It's up to 12 kills now from Puck. He's still kept it alive this entire time. And there are the Vikings that Kelazhur needs. Kills off one of the Colossus, I think. Yeah, kills off one of them.
Yeah, he's starting to make those Vikings. He's up to 12, you know. But there are 6 Colossi.
Oh my God!
There's still more.
Tempo. Do you remember ages ago that that Oracle killed off the 2 SCVs building the barracks?
Yeah, don't tell me they're still being...
They're only just now being put back on.
You know, it's so funny. I was looking at the production tab and I kept seeing 2 barracks. I'm like, this guy is like making barracks like supply depots or something. But yeah, I saw that and I can't believe they're just now. So big drop inside of the main of Puck. Kelazhur also looking to take a position at the third, but Puck always anticipates it.
And these DTs, they're making it so much easier for him to clean up these drops. It's something that he went for earlier. And this is actually one of the big reasons why it was so much harder for Kelazhur to make a lot of damage happen in game number 1. And game number 3, we're seeing that same sort of situation where the drops are going to get shut down by the DTs. And at the same time, the rest of the army can sit over at the other expansions and just clean those armies up that Kelazhur keeps throwing away.
Yeah, but really nice position for these Vikings. Puck has already used his blink there and wasn't able to actually snipe any.
Puck is maxed out. The only thing that he could possibly be waiting for right now is for Storm to finish up. He blinks forward a little bit over aggressively. Now he's going to focus fire down those Vikings, though.
There are so many of them, and there are a lot of so much damage being done here, but now they are all down. And now, Fear Dragon, what is Kelazhur going to do? He's running with his tail between his legs. This is all he's running to. He doesn't have bunkers to even fall back on.
Yeah, this is unfortunately not the same style as we saw out of game number 1. Even if it was starting to look like that at some points, didn't quite transition out into it. An SCV is going to be pulled. That is definitely the sign when you're pulling SCVs versus Archons and Colossus. The sign that you're pretty much about to tap out. Kelazhur played some brilliant series early on in the game, and he's finally going to tap out. Puck going to be taking that series.
What a series, man. What a series.
That was a great series, man. That was a great series.
That was. Putting on a show.
Well, congratulations to Puck. We've now are 1-1 in terms of established NA pros versus breaking out players. We'll see how exactly it ends up going in the next series, as it is going to be Puck actually playing once again, this time versus Midday. So we'll see you guys in just a little bit. Of course, Puck winning that $25, but going to be looking for $50 this time. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, sorry for the very, very short break, but we're still on break. We're still getting the next game set up. Tempo is actually a little bit, he's getting some water and everything, using the restroom, and this might be a great time for you guys to do the same, because we're actually going to be trying to restart the stream. We're going to be bringing the quality down to 720p rather than 1080p, so hopefully that should help out a lot of you guys with the, maybe you guys have internet from Comcast or something, and Tempo's back. He doesn't actually have his headphones on, so he doesn't know we're actually live. Gonna forgive him. Tempo, we're live right now. I'm explaining to everyone that we're gonna be actually bringing the stream down for a second, putting it on 720p rather than 1080p to help everyone out with the poorer internet problems. Since still strangely, we're not actually getting the glorious options for low, medium, high, and everything. Normally you get that after 100 viewers, but if you guys do want to actually try and ask Twitch about that, you can hit that little wrench down in the bottom some side of the stream. It's a little report problem button, and you can just hit other or something and say, there's no quality options or something, even though the stream has over, X number of viewers or something. So we're going to be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. The stream will be down for just a little bit, but we are still live.